It's been a fascinating Premier League season so far. And when it comes to the top four, it feels like there's three teams in a title race at the moment, but that fourth spot for the Champions League is up for grabs at the moment. And there's some teams here that I'm looking at, and look, it's Tottenham. And I'm going, how? How are Tottenham having a game in hand that would put them into fourth spot? Of course, West Ham have the position at the moment. Man United, with a new manager and a nice run of fixtures, are looking to jump into fourth spot as well. And Arsenal, of course, as well. Hugh, I think this Christmas period with the fixtures that all of these sides have got, it could be really, really pivotal, because for all of them, you've got Arsenal playing West Ham next week. But aside from that, all of those four teams, in terms of the next 5 games, they're essentially all winnable games for them. So do you feel like sort of the top 4 race could be decided in this Christmas period, because there's so many points up for grabs?
No, I don't. I don't think any of them are good enough. I don't think any of them are good enough for one of them to pull clear. Right. It's definitely that top 3, as you mentioned. And then fourth will basically be, I think they should give a trophy out for it, the best of the rest, because basically it's another league right now. There are 3 teams in a league of their own. I think it's going to be very difficult for anyone to pull away. Like I say, they might have a good run of results, but you get to the other side of Christmas, the games will still come thick and fast, particularly for the ones involved in Europe. West Ham United doing great in the Europa League. Manchester United still in the Champions League as well. There'll be plenty of games, and I don't think there's going to be the ability for anyone to really pull clear. What I would say is, we talk about the depth of the squads in terms of the title race and what's happening at Manchester City and Chelsea. Whenever you see their bench, you think, wow, how are Liverpool going to stay with these guys over 38 games when the injuries start to happen? And when you look at the best of the rest league, you look at the squad that Manchester United have, and you start to think, what will affect West Ham further down the line? What will affect Tottenham Hotspur further down the line? Well, we're already seeing at Tottenham Hotspur, games postponed. They're going to have loads of them to catch up, it looks like, on the other side of Christmas. So you believe that the depth at Manchester United will finally pay dividends towards the end of the season. They've got so many quality players. They're not going to go deep into the Champions League. They might get through to the quarterfinals, say. So I think you'd have to favour Manchester United. They've got Cristiano Ronaldo, for example. I don't think Tottenham are good enough. I think what we're seeing at the moment with them is a bit of a false league position. Antonio Conte himself has said they're not good enough. They need more quality. Maybe in January they will go out and try and find someone. The other question is, will Harry Kane be there past January? We don't know if Manchester City might try and come back in for him. West Ham United certainly need to add some depth to their squad if they're going to challenge for 4th place. Mikel Antonio already, who was leading the line for them, has stopped scoring. They need some help in the forward department. And also they have that injury crisis in central defence as well. And for me, Arsenal are just too weak. They are very young, inexperienced. They're not going to have, that quality run of wins that would take them clear of the rest of the field. I think they could get into Europe, and that would be a successful season for them, I think. But I think top 4 at the moment is a stretch too far.
Yeah, for Man United, it is such an opportunity, these next 5 games. Norwich, Brentford, Brighton, Newcastle United and Burnley. And I think it couldn't have been more perfect for Ralph Rangnick in terms of, wanting to press high and it not feeling as scary as it would be against maybe some of those top teams that you feel like could break a little bit better and a bit more effectively and be that little bit more clinical. You really would be hoping for 15 points from those 5 games. I agree with you with Arsenal. I feel like next year might be their year. I think there are some really nice components there that have been put in place, and they kind of need just to be watered really throughout this season with such a young team. But I don't see them consistently beating the rest, as you were talking about. West Ham, I think West Ham could possibly be the sort of strongest contender to Man United for that 4th spot, because they have been so consistent. They do every single week prove us wrong. Chelsea last week, we didn't give them a prayer. They went out and beat Chelsea. Yes, they had a little bit of luck, but when you look at the XG of that game, they were the better side and created better chances as well. And actually, at the top, I was talking about the great fixtures for everyone. Spurs looks a little bit different, actually, at a closer glance, because you've got Brighton, who are always a tough team in this league. I know they're not going through a good spell. But then Leicester and Liverpool and Crystal Palace, who we're kind of waiting for them to sort of get some big results. And then Southampton, who I think they would want to be winning those games. So once we do get to the other side of it, I think the picture will be a little bit clearer. And I would expect the 2 to still be up there, to be West Ham and to be Man United. Do you agree with that?
I just think the Spurs fans will disagree with you on that. There seems to be an eternal optimism there. I think the arrival of Antonio Conte, they seem to have this feeling that he's going to be enough to turn them into a top 4 team. I always look at the quality of the 11 they put out. I've said to you before, they're never scary. I'm never worried about Tottenham Hotspur. I don't think many teams in the league are worried about Tottenham Hotspur, but I know their fans are very, very hopeful. They look at the league, they think, why not? You know, we win this game in hand, we're going to have another game in hand. Why can't we go and get into the top 4? You know, they will believe that on their day, they're better than West Ham United because of Harry Kane, because of Heung-min Son, because of Lucas Moura and the quality that they've exhibited in the past. I think Antonio Conte he probably has the biggest job in football right now, apart from Dean Smith at Norwich, to try and turn around some of the players at Tottenham Hotspur who I don't think have an elite mentality. He is an elite manager. He wants to drag them into the Champions League. For me personally, I think it'll just be a step too far. The Arsenal fans haven't given up hope either. But again, I agree with you. They're not going to consistently put in that form. They need Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang to be scoring pretty much every week and be back to his brilliant best. And I don't see that happening anytime soon, I've got to say. But I do want to talk about Manchester United just a little bit more, because we saw 2 games from Ralf Rangnick this week as their interim boss. I wonder now, I think the conversation's moved to maybe him staying on beyond the end of the season as manager if things go well. What have you made of his first 2 matches in charge?
Yeah, I don't think I've seen anything I didn't expect, if I'm honest. You expect a bit of reaction when a manager comes in. I think there are 2 games that are winnable, but I think overall that 4-2-2-2 against Palace looked good. Against Young Boys, it was a different side. So I think there's not too much that you can take from that. I just think it's a perfect set of fixtures for Ralf Rangnick to try and get stuff across. There's not going to be much training in between. So I think a lot of it could be done in the video room or through walkthroughs in training, but you can get momentum there. And, you talk about Spurs and that first 11 for Spurs, there are some great players there. They're deflated players. They're players that have lacked confidence. So that is where the manager can come in and playing higher up the field, that high press and being just a bit more considered in terms of that press as well. That's what you want to see from Man United. And these are games where you have that opportunity. For Antonio Conte and Spurs, we saw a great goal from Lucas Moura last week. Harry Kane, was top goal scorer last year. There are some great players there, but I think he just needs to raise the level of everyone else. So there is power in the coaching, but I still think United, with the depth of squad that they've got, will just be a little bit too strong when it comes to the top 4 race.
Hi, I'm Hugh Wisencroft from ESPN's Football Forecast. Make sure you're subscribed. You can follow all of our predictions throughout the season and get some other great analysis from our big names as well.